Judge has denied the state of California's request to stop Trump from using the California National Guard to keep the peace and keep order during these protests.
Okay, so the governor of California has put in for an emergency motion to block the deployment of National Guard troops in Los Angeles. However, a federal judge has denied this request within hours of filing this emergency motion. So we are going to dig into all of these details, and it's day 5 in the LA protest. We already have some action. Now, before we start the video, as you know, please like the video. It's the #1 way you guys are helping this channel, and it also helps others see the videos as well. Let us begin.
Judge has denied the state of California's request to stop Trump from using the California National Guard to keep the peace and keep order during these protests. CNN's Elena Treen is at Fort Bragg, North Carolina, where President Trump is speaking. And Elena, that's a big development, the judge denying California's request. Tell us about that, and tell us what the president has been saying in his Fort Bragg speech.
Yeah, I mean, it's a huge deal for the president here and his administration. And we heard just moments ago the president saying that he wants to liberate Los Angeles and really attacking Governor Gavin Newsom and Mayor Bass for the way that they've been responding to him calling in the National Guard and the Marines to go and try and quell these protests. We're obviously, I'm sure, if he's not alerted about it on stage, we'll soon after be hearing from him directly, I'm sure, lauding that decision.
Now, this has to be very embarrassing for Gavin Newsom, because himself and the state of California, they are suing Donald Trump over the notion of an illegal deployment of National Guard troops. And again, Gavin Newsom even put out, "We are filing an emergency motion to block Trump's illegal deployment." He even says Trump is turning the U.S. military against American citizens. The courts must immediately block these illegal actions.
Get out of here! Nobody did anything! Fucking cowards! What the fuck was that? Who are they arrested?
Now, these are not National Guard troops, but as I was making this video, we are already seeing images of people being arrested by federal agents, and we are already seeing clashes. We will get to that in a second. Now, this is the response from the federal judge. You guys can pause the screen to read it. Gavin Newsom was denied on his initial motion. However, he was granted the ability to have a hearing, and also the judge wants Donald Trump, Pete Hegseth, and the DOD to send in a response if they want to send in a response. So again, you can pause it and read this, but all you need to know is that Gavin Newsom has been denied on the initial request to halt all of the deployments, Marines and National Guard.
And before going further, I want to say a few words about the situation in Los Angeles, California. Have you heard of the place? Where I've deployed thousands of National Guard troops and hundreds of Marines to protect federal law enforcement from the attacks of a vicious and violent mob. And some of the radical left, they say, oh, that's not nice. Well, if we didn't do it, there wouldn't be a Los Angeles. It'd be burning today, just like the houses were burning a number of months.
Now, Donald Trump definitely rubbed a little salt in the wounds for Gavin Newsom, showing some love for the National Guard in front of the 82nd Airborne at Fort Bragg during the Army's 250th anniversary speech. So again, Donald Trump is well aware of what's going on in the Trump administration, and Gavin Newsom is definitely not too happy. And by the way, if you haven't already, make sure to please subscribe to my channel. This is what we do here. We gather all of the evidence, look through all of the footage, and we hold our elected officials accountable. Let's continue.
Okay.
I need you guys to go over there.
So it's, you can see, Jake, it's a little chaotic. So what they're trying to do is...
You guys gotta keep walking.
We're going to keep walking. We're going to keep walking. And then I want you to take a look over here. These are the officers in Suburbans. And then we're trying to weave our way through the next wave of officers. But you can see, I mean, there's press parked on the sidewalk because when today started, this area into the Metropolitan Detention Center was completely open. I hear you. I hear you. And so This is how a street is cleared. The LAPD is creating.
Okay, so I just wanted to show you, on day 5 of the protest, it looks like local police and riot control, they're not messing around as far as the space given to media. If you watch all of the raw footage, you'll notice media is generally safe, and even if they get detained, they are let go. But this time around, they're willing to push around media and cameramen, even if they belong to CNN. But I also want you guys to see this clip.
Buildings or going after members of law enforcement. That's not free speech. That is not peaceful protests. And I'm very supportive of immigration as well, too. We have to find a way forward that two must be true at the same time.
And
now, this is the first time we're seeing a prominent Democrat, a senator, Mr. Fetterman of Pennsylvania, where he's coming out and saying, look, we are destroying our own reputation by sticking up for the riots and protests in LA. If you are saying everything is peaceful and then denying that cars are burning down and police officers are getting attacked, this is what Fetterman is trying to say. And this really does extend to Gavin Newsom, who keeps trying to push the notion that we don't need the National Guard in the area. So it's good to see at least one senator say, look, guys, we got to tone it down.
But when I look at the people who are out there doing the violence, that's not the people that we see during the day who are legitimately out there exercising their First Amendment rights and to be able to express their feelings about the immigration enforcement issue. These are people who are all hooded up. They've got a hoodie on. They've got face masks on. They're people who do this all the time, get away with whatever they can, go out there, from one civil unrest situation to another, using the same or similar tactics frequently, and they are connected. Some would call them anarchists or by any other variety of names, but they're people that we run across routinely city to city, and this is what they do. So even more disgusting that many of the people who are doing this come in from other places just to hurt people and to cause havoc.
Now, this is from yesterday. This is the chief of police literally saying, we don't even know who these people are. They're not from Los Angeles. So you would assume when Gavin Newsom says we have the situation under control, we don't need any help, yet you have the city police chief saying otherwise, like the situation's a little chaotic, maybe it wouldn't be a bad idea to have the National Guard out there.
Now, commenting about last night, the violence we saw last night, there is just no way to view it as unacceptable. So I do not believe that individuals that commit vandalism and violence in our city really are in support of immigrants. They have another agenda. If you support immigrants and the rights of immigrants to be in our city, you would not be tearing the city apart or vandalizing it. And I do want to say, especially for our national audiences, that those of us in Los Angeles understand that the unrest that has happened are a few blocks within the downtown area. It is not all of downtown, and it is not all of the city. Unfortunately, the visuals make it seem as though our entire city is in flames, and it is not the case.
So this is another update from the mayor of Los Angeles. She is still holding to the argument that everything we're seeing is blown out of proportion. It's just a small section of the city, not the entire city. Yet with all of the looting, all of the destruction, some might argue that little percentage was still significant when you look at the broad aspect of everything.
Once we're done with this live shot right here, we're going to go head over that way. You see, it appears to be California National Guard. Ooh, they're taking somebody down right now. Right. I don't know if they saw. Yeah, I don't know who those guys are or what they did, but you can see that appears to be. Is that California National? If it says ERO on their back, that would be ICE. That stands for Enforcement and Removal Operation. I can't tell. It's some sort of law enforcement, and they clearly did not. Yeah, they clearly did not like what the guy in the yellow was doing right there, because they ran right at him and they took him down. So we'll ask and we'll see if we can find out what that guy did. It looked like he was loitering near a vehicle. Oh, it looks like a firework just got thrown in. So that's more of what you're seeing multiple fireworks coming into that frame there, Trace, and that's what we were just dealing with about 30 minutes ago while we were live on Hannity. We had fireworks being thrown in our direction, in LAPD's direction. So this crowd is definitely getting a little bit more feisty tonight, Trace, and you mentioned it right off the top. That's exactly what happens out here when the sun starts going down with these LA. I think these might actually be feds based off some of the patches I'm seeing. These look like DHS guys to me. Yeah, HSI, police HSI. So that's Homeland Security Investigation. So those are feds. Those are not locals. And that's probably why you see them being a lot more aggressive. The feds have been a whole lot more aggressive. Think about what we saw on Saturday.
Now, there's a ton of misinformation being thrown out there. As you heard, he assumed that's the National Guard. You have to understand the National Guard and the Marines, you would never ever see them break formation like this where one man is running on his own. If you ever see anything like that, that's either the worst trained unit ever or it's not the National Guard, but most likely not the National Guard or the Marines. This is because, and I want to hammer it in your head, I keep saying this because there's so much misinformation, the National Guard is to stay in one area, protect the federal assets. And we are getting some word that the Marines are going to be doing the same exact thing at some point. We haven't had any visuals or footage of the Marines yet. But again, be very careful when you're watching these clips or consuming media. If it's too good to be true and the National Guard looks like they're going all out, it's most likely not the National Guard. Keep that in mind. Federal agents have the same garb or dress up as the National Guard, but it doesn't mean they're the National Guard.
As Democratic Senator Chuck Schumer said today, Casey, right, there has been violence. It's outrageous and unacceptable when there is violence. But to characterize the protests that we have seen as violent in their entirety is completely inaccurate. And just look, we're going to give you a snapshot of what we're seeing right now, okay? This front line when Trump's talking about full-blown assault on peace and a public order. So these are the National Guard. I'm just walking along here. They're doing their job, okay? This is California National Guard that Trump's deployed. So if you're going to call it a front line, I guess this is the front line, Casey. I'm just going to back up and come along it. Tom's showing you, okay? So you can see this. And you can see there's, I'm just sort of back of my hand, Casey, here. There's 50 or 60 of them right now. There's also Customs and Border Protection officers here. But I'm just showing you this. Now, when we come around the corner, you can continue to see, and there's a barrier as you look down that will separate some of the protesters from these officers, again, from CBP as well as from the California National Guard. But what we're seeing them do here is they're very professional. They're standing here and they're doing their jobs. They've been deployed against the wishes of the governor of California. But I just want to show, Casey, in this moment in time, when you hear the president using the words like he's using a vicious and violent mob, well, that's not what we're seeing right now. We're not seeing a vicious and violent mob, and we aren't seeing law enforcement actually fighting with them. At night, when things, escalate a little bit, have we seen people throwing plastic bottles? Yes. We've seen glass bottles. Yes, those things do happen. That's what happens in protests. That sort of the stuff is the stuff that's unacceptable. But to characterize this as a rebellion and an insurrection would, of course, be, as you can see from our images, it's a grossly inaccurate thing to say. But I can just show you what we're seeing right now. That's the snapshot in time, as you see all of these officers here. And that's what we can show you, Casey. This is what it looks like right now. It does not match what you're hearing the president say.
Now, this is about to get really awkward because as you saw, CNN is portraying everything is peaceful. Here's the National Guard. Here's the front line. Everything is good to go. What is Donald Trump talking about? However, here is CNN as well. This happened a few days ago.
Outside there, and certainly no weapons that you've seen. Careful. I see them going forward. Stay safe, Kyung.
Watch out, watch out, watch out.
You okay?
So they're pushing everybody into the street. I don't know why.
We're watching live pictures here. This is from Los Angeles, outside a Metropolitan Detention Center, where over the course of the last 2 hours, we've seen the size of the federal forces there grow. Not just National Guard troops, and that's our Kyung Lao right in the middle of it. I want to make sure she stays safe and her photojournalist. We've watched their number grow, that is of...
So I just find it rather interesting that in one sense, CNN shows some violence involving the National Guard. In another sense, a few days later, look, everything is fine. What the heck is Donald Trump talking about? But to get back to Gavin Newsom, we're just gonna have to wait and see what happens. He's been rather radio silent on the internet. He hasn't posted in a few hours. He's almost been posting every hour talking about Donald Trump and other members of Congress attacking him or going after him, but he's keeping rather quiet now. So, thank you guys for watching the video. We'll see you all later. God bless.